All right, folks, welcome to Nino's Corner.tv. We got a live update with 𝗬𝗏 right now. Did I just say 𝗬𝗏? 𝗬𝗏 right now. I'm going to be bringing them on in just a second. But first, folks, get your Noble Gold. Get your Noble Gold. If you're over 40 and planning to retire someday, the window to protect what you built may be smaller than you realize. Ask yourself, is your portfolio built for what's coming next? Most of us, no. As retirement moves to someday to on the horizon, protecting what you built becomes just as important as growing it. That's where Noble Gold Investments comes in. They help investors reduce risk by adding gold and silver to their portfolios. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com, noblegoldinvestments.com. And folks, looks like Iran is falling. Iran is falling. This is the Berlin Wall 2.0 on steroids. This is getting wild. And I'm going to bring 𝗬𝗏 on right now to discuss further. So let me go ahead and do that. Bingo. There he is. Juanito. Can you hear me, Juanito?
Yeah, I can, bro.
Wow. StreamYard's working all right. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and show this picture right here. It says, and I don't know if this is true, but it says that the forces that took out Maduro in Venezuela are now closing in on Ayatollah Khamenei. Is that true? Is there any truth to this? It's from...
Well, it's in a generic sense, it is. It's, we have intelligence operations that have been going on for quite a while to yard in Iran. And by the way, let me just answer that this way. They're not exactly the same, but, Iran, this collapse right now that's going on, didn't just suddenly happen a couple days ago. 2 weeks ago. There was a lot in play that's been going on over the last, several years, but especially this year, leading up to this moment. And I'll use this as an example. Anticipating that the communications would be cut off at some point in time that would allow groups to coordinate their efforts across Iran. Starlink communication systems had been flooded into Iran. Now, not tens of thousands, only a few thousand. It was a few hundred initially, but now over the last couple of weeks, a couple thousand more. This is important because while communications were shut down to keep the people involved in this revolt from being able to communicate and coordinate their activities, because they have Starlink, they actually have an advantage over the government forces and troops because now they can't communicate and they don't see where stuff is coming from. And the people there in Iran, much of the important people involved in this have communications and they can coordinate their activities. And communications is so crucial in bringing something like this to a head, to know where to muster forces, where the threats may be primarily, even tracking down some of the especially bad guys and taking them out before they can, take out the people involved in this revolt. So that didn't just happen. That was coordinated, planned, and put in place and over many months, and then moving more satellites into position to be able to handle that direct uplink for the communications. And that also happened in Venezuela, by the way, where the people know about it or not. Down the road, we'll hear all sorts of information.
Well,
pull it together.
I've heard, it's all over the internet right now, the generals or the military officials saying that they've never seen any kind of firepower or weaponry or technology in their life with what they were what they were hit with in Venezuela. They said it was absolutely scary, and it's spreading fast like a wildfire across South America to Colombia, to Mexico, and they're letting them know you do not stand a chance against what Trump has. And Trump has said on record, it's his own morality keeping him, holding him back from world dominance.
Yeah. Well, we have stuff that we haven't even broken out of the gift box yet on technology that can be used because, it takes us to a whole nother level. The stuff that most of these guys are talking about are directed energy weapons that actually most of it is,
What about
20
sound
years
frequencies?
old.
They said they were on their knees.
Yeah, we were doing
throwing up
that in the
blood.
60s, 70s. Yeah. But
so
to
that's all
use it,
old hat.
see, it's fairly old hat, but again, that somebody would use it other than maybe in a very narrow special forces type of an operation, that's a little different story. And then to use it with such precision as it was used this way. And by the way, attempting as much as possible to be non-lethal, even with the bad guys. But there's certain locations, certain things. Those Cubans that were guarding Maduro. Maduro wasn't his own man. I don't know if people understand this. I said this previously. When Chavez died, the Cubans were running Venezuela all the way back then. Chavez was almost just a figurehead puppet figure himself. And when he died, they didn't want the knowledge of his death out amongst the people of Venezuela right away. And so they forced Chavez's two daughters to sit beside his dead corpse. They staged it just like a model shoot. And they had to sit there while they got his face just right. They got the head angle just right, got the newspaper in front of him like he was reading it or whatever, to get all the staging just right so they had proof of life that was put out there, because there was a rumor, everybody knew something had happened to Chavez. No, he's fine. He's just fine. And so the daughters being staged with him, would they try to pull a ruse like that? Blah, blah. No, the Cubans forced them to do that. And the Cubans, you couldn't get a driver's license. You couldn't get your retirement check. You couldn't get, new tires for your car without a Cuban involved. Okay. They were running Venezuela. When Trump had the strike force go in there and take Maduro, they had to go through all of the Cuban security, because he was really just a puppet of Cuba. Cuba was running Venezuela. I told your audience that years and years ago.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
So part of the reason is because Cuba needed that location for money laundering, for oil, to refined oil to run Cuba. With that cut off, Cuba's in a dire situation. And I raised it with your audience for even President Trump's news conference the other day. I kept saying Cuba, 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 Cuba. And, oh yeah, and even Trump's said it quite a few times. In the same breath, I've told your audience about Iran. Iran, which is exporting terrorism, not just a couple countries. I've talked about it related to Africa and other places. You got a couple dozen places around the planet Iran has its hands involved in. You got 15 or so that they're heavily involved in, where there's real wars taking place. And Cuba is right in there with them. So now that we're taking out Iran, Cuba's on the chopping block. By the way, who else is tied into that? It's a race right now. Will we go after Cuba first, or will we go after Ramaphosa first?
Ooh.
Okay, in South Africa. And by the way, let me just add this. Okay, so with your audience, I just hinted at it a second ago with something I was doing with 𝗏𝗏𝗂𝗏𝗏, but let me just throw this at you, because you're right there, bro. All those cartels you can see out across the river, out across your horizon, all of those Mexican operations.
Oh yeah, I just went down to the border yesterday and showed the fence, the barbed wire that it actually looks quite pathetic. But I just went down there yesterday, folks. That'll be up on my Facebook, and the shorts will be up on my YouTube today, I think. But yeah, I just went down there and did a live report from the border, from the wall, helicopters flying everywhere. Am I going to see bombs going on? Am I going to see?
No. You know what we're going to do? You know what we're going to do, Nino? This is important that people understand this. We're not going to play the game the way that everybody else has played it all along. Okay. Um, the Mexican government is so corrupt. By the way, okay.
No, I'm just wondering if I'm
Um,
going to get some good footage showing the.
no. Hold on. Yeah. No. Here's. Let me just say this.
I mean, it was that way in 2005. There was
No,
bombs
let me.
going off, car bombs, everything.
Yeah, relax. You're gonna have fun with this one. Where was the largest embassy? Still is today, for the Cubans outside of Cuba.
Outside of Cuba, where's the largest embassy? What embassy?
Yeah, where's the
American
Cubans'
embassy?
embassy? No, where does Cuba have its biggest embassy outside of Cuba?
Probably somewhere in America. I don't know where.
No, shit, no.
Italy, where?
No.
Colombia. Oh, Venezuela.
That's the Iranians, by the way. But anyway, go ahead.
Venezuela or Colombia?
No.
Mexico.
Mexico.
That was my sixth, seventh guess.
Yeah, of course, all the JFK conspiracy kids out there yelling in your ear, Nino.
Yeah, is it in Tijuana? What are you doing? Is it in Tijuana? Someone said Tijuana.
No,
Mexico.
It's in Mexico City. My gosh,
Mexico City.
I mean, the Russians, the Cubans, they all go out and have lunch every Friday afternoon together, share information. Wow. In fact, we have here in the U.S. And I don't think it's actually it isn't a secret, but we have the highest ranking intelligence officer within Cuban intelligence who really ran the Mexico station for decades here in the U.S. He's living free here. There's a lot of story to be told there. I mean, there's a lot. It's a big deal, but the stories about what he did from Mexico City, intelligence operations against America. You know, he led the teaching, recruitment and training of the Black Panthers were created by Cuban intelligence. Think about that. And he was the one that set it up and trained him. Okay, he's here on U.S. soil. He's a very old man at this point in time. He'd probably be annoyed that I'm saying something, but you know, the reality is this: Cuba into Venezuela and coordinating with Iran is a huge piece in this whole thing. And you had Cubans that were over there doing a lot of the mischief in the Congo, working with China. It's nodes of a much larger network that we're going after.
It looks like
hold on, I got to finish. I got to tell you something here. Yeah. So how do we deal with this ongoing threat, even into Mexico with the cartels and everything else? Now, the normal way that most people want to say we're going to deal with it is, we're going to go attack Mexico with the cartels. We're going to do bombing, grab helicopters. We're going to go, it's going to be horrible. America's going to invade Mexico. No.
Have their own people overthrow them.
No, we don't want an unstable Mexico. We want the politicians to decide to pick their lane. But you know what we're going to do?
Huh.
Let me see how I want to say this. We're going to make a demilitarized zone.
You're going to make a deal with who?
You're going to make a demilitarized zone. We're gonna relieve the Mexicans of the worry of how to deal with that last, certain number of miles between the border and our side. Instead of having, a 4-foot wide border, we'll just make it, a few miles wide. Okay. We'll create
the border, even where I'm at, Juarez, all this. What do you mean by that? A demilitarized?
Yeah. So watch and see how this plays out.
So they're not going to be allowed to have their military.
We'll take care of the policing. We'll have a nice wide area. We'll help them out. You watch.
What happens to 𝗬𝗂𝗂 in all this? I mean, we know she was installed by the cartels. What's going to happen to her?
Well, hold on a second. Okay, really important point here, Nino. You just touched on it. Let me help everybody out for a second here. I've said this 1,000 times, but I'm going to say it again because I don't know if your audience really fully gets this yet. The single most important thing that Trump intends to do during this his time in public office is about to happen, declaring a national election emergency declaration, and then having to go to a hand count paper ballot on clean voter rolls and blah, 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 no machines at all involved. What is part of the preface for having to declare this national emergency? Because it's not just America. All these countries have leadership in place that was put there through election. The guys that we have in physical custody here in the United States who are testifying before grand juries right now and have for the last several weeks, those individuals have said as part of their declarations, affidavits, interviews, etc., that they flipped in 71 countries plus the United States. Now, it's very important because all of those countries, you have half the population of the free world, probably 90% of the population of the free world, who have leadership who aren't the will of the people. They're there through fraud. Okay, they're counterfeit leaders. Now, if you have a bunch of them that may want to somehow survive, that are in there, they're going to have to play ball. Okay? You want to stay? You're going to do what we tell you to do, and you're not going to do what the cartel tells you to do. So pick a lane.
So
you want
what?
to do what the cartel tells you what to do? We'll take you out.
How does she? I mean, that's like a tug of war for her position and her soul.
Okay, so she has to decide. She can have a tug of war. She can be in there with Maduro. We got cells.
I know, but she knows that. Obviously, we all know that. Obviously, but the cartels are going to be like, you're going to play ball with us. She can't.
Well,
what is she going to do, Juanito? This is
okay.
This
well,
is crazy.
All of them have a similar problem. Who do you want to? Cuddle up next to?
I would not want to be her.
I would
not want to be her. Yeah, I would not want to be her. This is
okay.
Bad,
then you better cuddle closer. Okay. Seriously, I don't want to be cold. I want to cuddle closer to you. Please, Mr. President.
They're going to get her, Juanito.
Well, they may or may not. If she wants to work with us, so we'll protect her. See, that's part of the whole point. Let me back up for a second. Look at what's going on in Iran.
Yeah.
The people you thought you could never take out of power, they're too powerful. If you go after them, they go after innocent people. The people of Iran have risen up in such numbers that the regime is overwhelmed.
Juan, it's important to note. It's important to note because Trump said, "You shoot any of them, we're coming for you." So they know they have the United States back.
Have you looked at what's going on across Europe?
I guess people are marching as well, right? There's
no, Nino. We've moved massive military hardware and personnel into place.
That's right. Yep.
And it's been going on now for a couple of weeks. I remember when I got the first call probably 2.5 weeks ago. Hey, you looking at this traffic with the C-17s and C-5s? Yeah.
Well, that's where you're at right now. You're in Europe.
Well, but the point is this, Nino. Part of the reason that those people in Iran, see, what happened started about 24 hours ago. The senior military and policing figures and political figures in Iran, if they were powerful enough and high enough, they started bugging out to Russia, Qatar, Oman, and here in parts of Europe, France and Italy. They're trying to get out of the way while the getting's good. And, up to Russia and like that. The supreme leader, he went out to a place called 𝗂𝗏, which is a kind of a desert retreat location with an underground bunker in eastern Iran. Now, he thought he was safe out there because nobody knew where it was or what it was or whatever. Only problem is that the people overthrowing the government there in Iran. They're pretty good technicians too. Some of them are on the inside, including police that have flipped, intelligence people that have flipped, and they're on the, picking the right side of history. So they pulled up the record and found where the supreme leader had gone to hide. Okay, so he's in his underground bunker out there, 100 feet under the ground, concrete.
So he
everything.
is in an underground bunker right now.
He's in an underground bunker right now.
What about this article that says Iran activates missile cities? What are those as Ayatollah faces gravest threat? What are missile cities?
Well, but again, that's by now. Let me just say this: that information is like 7 or 10 days old. Okay, it's meaningless now. They were going to threaten everybody, whatever. No, they've already lost.
Damn.
They're already bugging out. That's why I'm telling you, Nino.
So they're in hiding right now. It's over.
It's over. What's really the concern for the people there that have been bad guys in the regime? The leadership's all out of there. What about the guys that are just bad guy police officers, bad guy military who were terrorizing the people? One of the things that has been going on for the last several years that is been their way of terrorizing the population, rather than kill people, torture them to death horribly. They'd beat them and everything else, and then they'd mark them. And the way they'd mark them so they could easily be picked out of a crowd and cripple them too, they'd shoot out one eye.
Jeez.
Now they didn't shoot it out with.
They said shoot out.
No. What they would do is they
shoot out an eye. I don't know how you do that, but all right.
Shoot out. They would use a pellet gun.
I heard shoot.
They'd use a pellet gun and shoot the eyeball out. Okay, so that the people were marked for life. They were blinded, and then with terrorism, you need to be able to scare everybody else into line. And so you would see the person maimed in this way, damaged in this way. And if they got you again, they'd shoot out the other eye. Horrible thing. But those guys that were doing that, the people know who they are.
Yeah.
They know who these people are. They're hunting them down right now. The ones that were the worst of the worst, they're hunting them down. They had a gal that was protesting with, not really protesting. She was there telling the police at this one station that they needed to leave the community and just go away. Just leave, because we're not going to live under your threats anymore. And one of the really bad guys got behind her and got away. They hunted him down. They riddled his car full of bullets. They've got video of it. They put it all over. Those bad guys that were doing this stuff, they're now the hunted. Wow. And the people of Iran are rising up, and they're so pissed. See, it's one of the things, the tipping point for Iran, the final straw, if you will, that's led to this moment. Back in 2008, when Obama didn't help the people there, they were crying out for help. The Ayatollah had put in place a political leadership that was very hard-nosed and extreme. And so the people were protesting that they wanted a less extreme leader. They wanted a more moderate leader that would be closer to the will of the people. And the regime said no way, and they doubled down harder. And they killed and tortured and everything, thousands, and so brought that unrest back under control. And that's what people expected to happen again, because nobody came to help them. But the population, there was a moment that was really in history, will be the tipping point where it all started to go a different direction. This gal was wearing a burqa, but she wasn't quite wearing it to the approval of the Islamic people in that community. And so she had a little bit too much wrist showing, skin. And so they took her into custody, beat her horribly. And in the course of beating her over this, torturing her really, they damaged her brain. She got brain swelling and then eventually died. And, just a beautiful young girl. That was a bridge too far. They were done. And from that point in 2018, moving forward, the perception of the people was, and the conversations at the street level were, that you cannot reason, you cannot negotiate. There is no middle ground anymore with these people. They had been working to try and get along, go along, work within the constraints. These Islamic cultists, really, who were not the majority, were able to weigh it over everybody else. About that time, a huge move of God began. There was a church move. Iran is the place where Esther was from, there in Persia, in the Bible, 17th book of the Bible. Iran is where Daniel is buried, who was the prophet in Babylon, was brought out from his retirement home and brought in and shown the wall where the hand of God wrote in the plaster. Right. Okay. Mm-hmm. Your kingdom's been weighed and you've been found wanting, and this day your life is required of you. Daniel, after Babylon fell, was taken by the Persians as an honored prophet of God and treated very respectfully in what is modern day Iran. His grave is there in Iran. The people of Iran have great respect for both the Jewish and Christian stuff. In fact, by the way, 𝗬𝗶𝗶𝗶𝗶, the son, the crown prince of the Pahlavi family, son of the Shah, he lives in Virginia here in the U.S., has conferences every year out there. I've been to several, and with other friends. Tomorrow, probably, he is going to be meeting with one of the most influential people out of Israel in a meeting, and then he's supposed to speak on Tuesday at an event at Mar-a-Lago. And so interesting how the timing is on this stuff, right? How is that scheduled so far in advance? Okay, it just so happens. Well, I'm telling your audience, no, this was anticipated for quite some time. It's just now coming to a head. This is no accident, okay? Just like Venezuela, just like Iran, and other footfalls to come, there's much more coordination to this. There is much more of a plan going on here than people give credit for. So when he meets with the person from Israel, if he does that meeting tomorrow, as it looks like it is supposed to happen, Iran naturally is not at odds with Israel. When you talk about missile bases and getting lit up, Iran sent 800 missiles at Israel and really, just shot, holes in the air. They didn't hit anything significant. 800 from Iran. People were expecting it was destroy Israel. No. We have other technology out there that was very effective. The Iranian leadership is, they're digging into their foxhole. They get their bunker underground. Yeah, that might as well be your grave. You want to stay there? We'll just put guards at the top and let you stay there. You can sit there in your own prison for the next several years till you rot to death. Not going anywhere. We don't even have to fight hard to go open it up. We can if we want,
right?
But probably not necessary. So Iran's about to experience a renaissance. That oil from Iran, China can deal with us, with Iran, just like they're going to have to deal with us in Venezuela. China can pay market prices. They've been getting the oil for next to nothing. Going after Venezuela, going after going after Iran is an end run around China. We don't want to fight them on their strength. We just cut off the fuel supply. Now go be a threat to Taiwan. Now go be a threat in world markets. You were stealing the oil for next to nothing. You're going to have to pay market rates. You're not going to be able to sell your goods and undercut markets around the world. China's in serious deep shit. So who's in trouble with Venezuela and Iran? Cuba, China, Russia. Now, Russia cooperated on something over the last few days because they didn't want to be tainted by it. And I think our Navy averted something, our intelligence people averted something horrible that was coming out of Venezuela. Let me tell you what I think the real risk is moving forward, Nino, just cutting to the chase. This globalist crowd that is trying to take over the world has been having a free-for-all, gaining ground every day, no opposition, nothing. Elections everywhere, is about to fall into, they won't be able to survive this. What will they do in response, trying to recapture the initiative? What they've done in the past. They will try to do another 9/11. Now, I'll tell you that anybody that believes that 9/11 happened the way you were told, I don't even have
be
time
careful here.
to
Be
waste
careful
with
with that.
them.
Yeah.
Okay. So, if you're talking a globalist
so
crowd,
are you saying,
what are they capable of? They're going to do something.
You're saying that event, a 9/11 style event, is going to happen.
I didn't say that. I said it's their plan. How do they get out of trouble? They're going to try. I think
It's looking less and less
averted.
though now, right? I mean, it seems to me like
no. They will not stop. They don't have a way to re-grab the initiative. They need something that pulls the world's attention
Juan.
to what they want. Okay, that's the risk. And where would they do it? See, that's the other thing. I don't think it's on
I don't want to
US
go
shores.
into that on here, but where would they do that? Kyle Rittenhouse just came out and said that they're getting ready for ICE type of false flags to happen, and that was on Alex Jones. Would you say those would be smaller scale attacks compared to the big one?
I'm talking about something that is orders of magnitude beyond anything.
Do we have any idea what that is?
That's
Do we
the
have
stuff that
any
I've
idea?
talked to your audience. Well, hold on. That's the stuff I've talked to your audience about previously numerous times. The insurrectionist type activity with the governors and mayors out across the country, opposing federal authority on multiple levels, including, by the way, Tina Peters. We're not done there yet. We have not slowed down or stopped on Tina Peters.
I'm wondering,
President Trump yesterday raised it again. Free Tina Peters. Governor of Colorado thinks that he'll sometime in 2026, in the last year of my governorship, I think that I might pardon Tina. Yeah, I'm thinking about it. Yeah, well, you better think fast. And it's not going to be on Tina solely. It's going to be on the bonds, by the way.
All right, I'm done with this chat.
Let's go look at the bonds. All
right, Juanito. Let's go back to Nino's Corner.tv. I'll see you over there. Thank you for joining me. Juanito, do you want to talk about 𝗷𝗫𝗎𝗔.com?
Yeah.
What's going on over there at 𝗷𝗫𝗎𝗔.com?
Hey, appreciate it, bro. And by the way, what led one quick little thing? Well, yeah, for sure. The one thing I was going to tell you, Nino, is this. When the collapse for Iran began in earnest is when they got in trouble with some of their banker buddies on the move of silver, and they got sideways upside down. So silver's a play within what's going on in Iran. Iran's banking being done right here down the street from me with what's going on. Largest embassy for
That's why
Iran
you're
outside of
there.
Iran proper is right here in Italy.
And
Just
there
down
you
the street.
are.
So
There you are.
the banking is tied to everything that's going on here. It's the money laundering from the oil money to go out to all their terroristic activities, etc. And who would cooperate and do that with them? It wouldn't be somebody that's like so clean and holier than thou, would it? Somebody's getting greased pretty good somewhere. So there's drama ahead there.
All right.
And we have the new called the makings of a perfect day coin that Jen has over on her site. It's over at the Gum Road site.
Right.
I don't think it'll be priced ever any lower than it is right now because of silver prices. So go grab one and there you go, bro.
All right, Juan, let's go over to ninoscorner.tv right now. Thank you, Juanito.